All right, I think we're good.
All right, let's get started. All right, so the movie today was Spider-Man 3. And I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I have a few things to discuss with it. Do you want to go first, or
Actually,
shall
I'll
I?
let you go first because I know that you have some more to say.
All
Probably.
right. This was a movie I projected back when I was a film projectionist, and the graphics, the CGI is, you can tell like there's a few crow's feet, like it's aging, but for certain things, especially the Sandman, the CGI still holds up pretty well.
I agree.
The overall plot of the movie, I didn't mind it as much as when I first saw it back in 2007, and I kind of forgive it a little bit more of its flaws back then. I especially the character of Mary Jane, I kind of harped rather unfairly on her.
Yeah, I agree. You did.
And I thought both her character and Peter Parker were both just a mess.
And I gotta say, like, I remember when I first saw it, I was a bit underwhelmed, especially after the first couple movies were really, really good. I liked them a lot.
Yeah.
So, going back and watching this again after
13 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been, like, I've seen it more recently. I think I've seen it just less than a year ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of it. I think it was just I just had it on. I think when I had the flu, so I was just laying back and I was just like dozing in and out. But back then and even now, I think that it's not a bad movie. There's things that people want to point to, like Spider-Man's dancing and everything like that.
Yeah,
but
that was.
I really feel that Sam Raimi was just kind of having a good time. He was kind of having fun with this.
I can see that, and it's not as bad as it was back then.
Yeah.
You could still see the. I thought the emo Parker thing was going to be worse than it was, and I was right. The whole emo thing, they kind of turned it up to 11.
Like,
at least in his look, it wasn't really the emo demeanor or the clothing style.
Yeah,
of the era.
I remember I didn't, when I first saw it, I didn't hate emo Parker, and I still don't. I'm like, it's silly. It's not the best way, because Venom's like one of my favorite.
Yeah,
I think he is my favorite Spider-Man villain. But I also like the big part of Venom is that like Peter kind of loses himself in it with the and I do appreciate that they were trying to show that. I don't think they stuck the landing, we'll say, but yeah. I never really hated emo Parker, and I still don't hate emo Parker. I think he's kind of funny. He's kind of full of himself, and again, like I do think that like there was a self-awareness to it that Sam Raimi was doing, because especially the people walking by on the street just looking at him like, okay, like clearly he knows that this is kind of silly.
Yeah, and I kind of forgive it a little bit more. I meant, as for emo Parker, I mean like the hair covering his eyes, and I think they made him paler and maybe gave him mascara.
Yeah, I think they were trying with the dark eyes and the pale. I think they were trying to convey maybe that it's kind of like a drug to him, that he keeps wanting more and more. He's in the throes of some kind of addiction. Again, I don't think they stuck the landing, but I think that was the mindset behind it.
It just seems like he was more, you don't understand me. But
fix this damn door.
But as for the what they did, like it's kind of funny, what it does with Peter Parker, because it's almost Peter Parker is a character stuck out of time. Like, he is almost like a super innocent man, trying to marry his best dame, from the 1950s, and of course, evil Peter Parker is gonna think like this jazz, musician is the definition of cool.
Like, he wants to be like, I remember we were talking about when we were watching the movie. I was like, this kind of seems like the idea of what someone being cool is to like a 5-year-old. Like, he's gonna I'm gonna go to jazz clubs and I'm gonna dance in the street because I'm cool. I kind of feel like there is kind of like this almost innocence to that. There was one aspect that I did want to talk about, because I was thinking about when I was watching the movie, and I was like, there is this kind of theme through it of revenge, and obviously with the Sandman being the villain, and like him killing
Whalers.
And him 13 years old and him killing Uncle Ben, and because I guess Peter's off the hook now for that whole thing, and also with Harry seeking revenge and everything of Peter. So there is this kind of like, and Eddie Brock looking for revenge on Peter. So there's like, every villain in its own way kind of has like this revenge arch to it. And Peter, and like Peter's at the middle of all of it. I'm like, that I like what they attempted to try to do, but I feel that maybe if they'd spent maybe more time like rewriting it, it might have been better. Like, maybe one more or two more like rewrites to kind of iron out some of the wrinkles.
I think the one of the big problems with the movie is that it had far too many villains. I would have cut Harry out of the movie altogether. Had him kind of like I know what you're gonna say, but in terms of the structure of the film, like save Harry for later.
Yeah, I can get behind it. Like, have his maybe his dark side fester.
Yeah,
and instead of
he's cloistered in rage. Instead of
like Venom being the third act villain, it's kind of like maybe you almost see the birth of the new Goblin or whatever like that. And
maybe the Goblin's like in the post credit sequence.
Like, okay, so now we're gonna do this. Now, I do want to say that, we were just talking about, what's his name? James Franco.
Yeah.
Like, when I first saw this movie in 2007, I thought that, it's like, oh gosh, this guy is the worst character in this movie. But damn it, he is so freaking great.
He is the best part of that movie, hands
it's like
down.
He sunk his teeth into this. He's like, you know what, I'm going to be the smarmiest kind of guy I can be. Like, I remember the line where the waitress came in and, was like, how's the pie? He's like, it's the best. And again, when I saw this when I was like 20 years old, I was kind of like, man, this is lame. This is corny. And now I'm like, I get it. I get why they're doing this. This is... Oh, this is great. I just want to make the whole, like, have a spin-off of just Harry just going to different places and eating pie and telling how good it is.
It's just his pie review.
Yeah, it's like his pie review YouTube series.
And he has never given a negative review. Like, each episode is about 10 seconds long. Oh, so how's the pie? It's the best.
Like, I think it's even more, it's like him, like, on the camera's like, yeah, it's your boy, Harry, Harry Osborn coming at you, and now we're gonna try Dutch apple pie. Let's see how this is. It's the best. And then it's we have a 30-second long thing, and then he tries different pies. Sometimes he gets creative. Like, this is a gravel and tar pie. It's the best.
It's crunchy.
It's so good. Oh, also, and here's something that, again, I never really considered when I was watching these movies the first time, but Bernard, his butler, is just the best. I love this guy so much.
For the wrong reason. Like, he was probably on a lot of Valium. And like, I don't think half the scenes he knew James Franco was in the room.
Like he's just a doddering old butler. He's like Alfred for the bad guy. Like if the Joker had a butler, you know, if Joker had Alfred and grew up in Bruce Wayne's lifestyle, that is who Bernard would be.
Bernard is if Alfred got hold of the Scarecrow formula and is now being heavily sedated to keep from screaming.
Like I remember when we were watching the movie, we were talking about like, you know, that Bernard probably was very much an accomplice to the Green Goblin and everything, and to the point where he has his own like hoverboard that he's just going around with, but he's just using it to clean things.
Don't worry, sir, I'm coming to get you.
And it's not Harry who shows up at the end fighting the Sandman. It's, you know, it's Bernard. Sir, you should know a few things. I loved Harry and I loved his father. Like, okay, thank you, but we need help here with the Sandman.
Yeah, but I got something to say first.
You know, actually, he might beat the Sandman because, you know, he's a butler, so you just vacuum him up. It's like, oh, this is dirty. This dirty. And he gets here's the funny thing. I think, because I told you I used to read the comic books of Spider-Man. I think, like they used to put out like 10 issues, like the first 10 issues and then the next 10 issues, and I bought like they're like little books, and I just bought like in like the first 30 or 40 issues, and I loved them. I thought they were great. And like the first time Spider-Man fights the Sandman, that's how he beats him. He tricks him to get near a vacuum cleaner and turns on the vacuum cleaner and sucks him up. Yeah, and I always thought, I was like, man, that seems like a lame way to beat the supervillain.
I guess no one thought of putting the man in a bag.
Like, he can't do anything now, can he? When he
get me out of this bag.
No, he comes back out and he's got dust bunnies and like pieces of lint stuck to him. He's got whatever else was on the floor. He's got crumbs. Like, that's part of him now. Dirtball. That's his new name.
That was something that you know, we were kind of joshing at with, like, because he gets washed away in the sewer, and then he reforms, and he's kind of a little bit dirty and brown.
Worse for wear.
So he might be part poo.
The part that didn't get turned to glass when he heated it, the part that just kind of melted, made everyone smell bad. Parker!
Oh, and J.K. Simmons, I don't know if or how they're going to bring back J. Jonah Jameson, but I can't think of anyone better than J.K. Simmons. He only had 2 scenes, or like, really 2 scenes, big scenes, in the movie. He had like things here and there, so he wasn't as much of a role as he was in the first Spider-Man movie or the second Spider-Man movie. But those brief moments that he was there, you really you felt it, and you're just like, this is good. I like having him here. You know, he's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, like I guess I used to read the comic books, and I loved them, and it was kind of nice to see them do, as far as I'm concerned, with this trilogy, for all intents and purposes. Like, they got a lot of the things kind of right based on the old comic books. You know, they had Betty Brant working at the the Daily Bugle, and there was definitely in all the movies kind of a little bit of a flirtationship between her and Peter Parker. Like, they never really went full on, but there was definitely, like, especially in this one, where he's talking about how he wants to shoot her and everything with a camera, not like take her on safari. So yeah, they have like they did a good job with all the characters, especially Aunt May.
Yeah, she is by far. She's also the best Aunt May.
Yeah, like I do enjoy Marissa Tomei. I think like they have their own style for the MCU, so it doesn't have to be like to the exact T with all the characters. But I do prefer this Aunt May because it is like, I don't look at this woman and see anybody but Aunt May.
She's such. If there is one word I can describe how they, how she portrays the character, it is wholesome.
Yeah.
She is just, she is a warm plate of pancakes.
Yeah. Did you make that up? Is that or is that something that is actually a saying?
It's not I tried to make up an idiom.
I like it. It fooled me. I wasn't sure whether or not it was real or not. It sounded like shit, but no, I'm just kidding. It sounded like something that they used to say in like the 30s.
That's a warm plate of pancakes, there, son.
She's a warm plate of pancakes, and yeah, she definitely is a warm plate of pancakes. I would even say a reheated basket of biscuits that came from the Red Lobster and still has some of the cheese on it, but not a lot of cheese so that you get blocked up, but enough cheese that you get the flavor.
I don't know. I don't think that's wholesome enough.
I'm not good at making idioms. I guess I'll keep trying.
So getting on with getting back to the villains real quick.
Yeah.
The most disappointing one would be Venom, played by what's his name?
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace from that 70s show. And I like Topher Grace. I just don't think this was the role for him.
Yeah, I think that I remember when it first came out, a lot of people were that was one of the big critical things that people were talking about. And at the time, I thought he was okay, but going back and rewatching, I'm like, yeah, I get what they're saying. This isn't the role that somebody else should have been played in this part.
Yeah, it's because he's still a little bit snarky and sarcastic. I don't really know if that's what Eddie Brock was like. Was he supposed to be a bit arrogant and
I definitely think that Eddie Brock, if I remember, I think that he was kind of arrogant, but I think that he was more
aggressive than...
Yeah, he wasn't the simpering little,
he was that he was less like Eddie Brock and more the bad guy from Billy Madison.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I said before, I really liked Venom. He's my favorite Spider-Man villain by far. And yeah, I kind of feel that I like the design of him. When I was watching, I was like, yeah, this is actually a pretty good design when he's not ripping his face off and showing Eric Foreman under there. I think it's great. But most of the time, it took too long, I guess, to kind of get him in. And spoiler alert, he just dies too easily.
Yeah.
It's 1 second, it's like they kind of had all these neat ideas and all these plates spinning, and they just, the plates just dropped one by one as the movie went on.
Yeah.
And shattered my hopes of a good Venom.
I think it should have been, a standalone thing. Just Venom and Spider-Man. Now, just looking back on it, because Spider-Man... going through the black suit transition, kind of becoming an asshole, doing his jazzercise, and going through all that would be a good kind of second, good portion of the second act of the movie.
Yeah,
and then you branch into a long, probably a longer. I guess a second half of the second act, where Eddie Brock becomes Venom, and now it's a thing. And meanwhile, throughout the movie, you can build this tension between the two characters of Peter Parker and Eddie Brock.
Peter
Parker.
I know one thing that everyone was saying at the time, and I was saying at the time, even though, like I said, I said I liked this movie back then, but I was lying to myself. Which was, yeah, if you want to do what you did and have, Venom come out in, the third act kind of thing, that's fine, but don't kill him off. Kind of let it simmer and be all right, now he's got Venom to chase after, for the next movie. Or, you can spend this movie setting up the rivalry between Eddie Brock and him and the black suit Spider-Man, and then at the end, when he have him shed off the suit or whatever, and then tease Venom for the fourth movie. but that never happened anyway. So
You know what? I think I kind of just noticed a major flaw between, for the, Raimi Spider-Man movies is he kills off the villains. They never kill off the villains. They kind of just capture them and, put them in a jail made of straw until they escape again. But, like, there's never really a reason to kill off the villains.
Well, I guess if I had to point to that, I'd say that this probably started with the Tim Burton Batman, because
I guess, yeah,
because Tim Burton's Batman was huge when it came out. You know, it was gigantic, and it had it kind of really set the mold for what a superhero movie should be for like the next 20 years.
Yeah,
and so. Like, at the end of that, he killed the Joker, and that kind of almost seems like, well, how can you do that? How can you have a Batman movie where you just kill the Joker at the end? But no, they did it. And then the next movie, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers here. They kill the Penguin, and they kind of kill Catwoman. They don't, but they kind of do. Then they kill Two-Face in the next one.
Well, are we gonna count those?
They're still superhero movies. So yeah, then everything after that, they kind of I guess they felt the need to follow that formula. Like the only superhero movie I can think of that they didn't really kill a lot of their villains off in the series was the X-Men movies.
Yeah, the X-Men, they didn't really do
especially the first three, because those are the only three I saw. But like Magneto doesn't die at the end of the first one. He just gets locked away in a glass prison.
Oh, that's kind of the thing that I think was really good about the X-Men, the concept of the X-Men, maybe not so much the execution, but the fact that, Magneto, though he's a villain, it's far more complicated than that. Like, he has a reason to be, so, angry. Like, he's I've been down this road before. I've seen what happens when they, register people.
I know I said that I like Venom and Spider-Man universe, but Magneto is also one of my favorite villains in just, also in the Marvel comics, and it's because you don't want to really, you don't hate him, especially going back into the Last Stand, which I didn't really like even at the time, but there was some, going back and rewatching it, there were some really good moments, like when Professor X dies in that movie, and the Fire Kid, I forget what his name is, Fire Kid I think his name was, he says something like, "Man, I wish it was me who got to kill him and not Phoenix or whatever." And Magneto was like, "Man, this dude has done more for mutants than you could ever possibly hope to imagine. Like, you show some respect, basically." And it's like, yeah, I really like that idea of it's a rivalry. It's not like a animosity kind of thing.
They're friends who have gone down different paths and have different ideals, and unfortunately, because of that, they're at odds with each other.
And go ahead.
But they do, the last thing they would ever want is to, cause the other one harm.
Yeah, like the end of the first movie, it's kind of, Professor X visits him in the prison, and they kind of have a little powwow and everything like that. Heck, in the second movie, they team up briefly.
Yeah.
And
aren't they playing chess together?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like man, this is a really good dynamic. That you don't that you don't really see in a lot of superhero movies, and I kind of like that. I like that it doesn't have to always be hatred. It can be just a difference of opinion kind of thing.
And even though the X-Men movie, the first three, I was not really the big fan of. I didn't really grow up with the X-Men, so it was a bit esoteric for me. I still recognize that it was such a very well put together execution of the two characters. First off, Patrick Stewart and what was it,
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great casting right there.
And even Hugh Jackman as
Hugh Jackman as Wolverine will always be Wolverine.
Yeah. Like those three right there, phenomenal casting.
I'll go ahead.
And even though there were parts of the films that I saw that kind of rang shallow, it just at least between Magneto and Xavier, it was kind of. I kind of wish there was more with that.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I also thought that I actually don't know how to pronounce her name. Famke Janssen, the one she played Phoenix, or I guess Jean Grey. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, I thought that was really good too. I thought she was like, she looked, like I imagined that a live action version would. Mm-hmm. And I've seen her in other things. Like most notably, she was in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And also as the series moved on, Kelsey Grammer as Beast was perfect casting.
I can't think of a better person to play Beast than Kelsey Grammer.
Like I remember I used to read Entertainment Weekly back then because I had a subscription, and don't judge me. And and I remember like when I was like reading up to see who was cast for, because I liked the first two X-Men movie, and I heard that The Last Stand, this is going to be the big battle, all the stuff that they've been building up these last two movies is going to finally come together. And I looked as like, oh, Beast is going to be in it. Oh, Kelsey Grammer. I was like, yeah, these guys, whoever's in this casting department needs to get a promotion or something.
Do they have awards for casting? Because
they should really
hands down, some of the best casting I've ever seen in a franchise. Even a franchise I don't really have any particular stake in.
Yeah, exactly. I think that what happened was like when they were like pitching the movie, maybe to the studios, they were like, all right, here's an idea. X-Men. Okay, X-Men. Tell me, go on with the X-Men. Superhero movies back now are kind of shitty. Then they're like, all right, Patrick Stewart as Professor X and Ian McKellen as Magneto, and the guy just starts throwing money at him. He's like, all right, make this happen, please.
In that moment, that's when Making It Rain was born. It's like, I'm... All right, Professor X, like, we need a bald, smart man. Oh, Patrick Stewart, like, he can pull that off. All right, we need a kind of sad-looking old man,
but still kind of intimidating.
But yeah, still kind of intimidating and wise. Oh, how about Gandalf?
Yeah, that's
why don't we get Gandalf in on this?
Well, I think it's just I know he'll be Gandalf someday. Lord of the Rings was like 2003, I think.
2001.
2001, and X-Men was. X-Men 1 was
99, wasn't it? 98.
Yeah. It was definitely. I think it was right before.
They had a time machine.
They knew, like, they were talking about Gandalf for years.
Yeah.
Like, man, if this guy could be anybody, he'd be Gandalf. It's like, yep. I hear that they wanted him, I think, as Dumbledore, which would have been cool. I think he turned it down because he was like, I'm already a legend. And then they were like, hey, how about you, Patrick McGowan? And I wish they would have. I know he said that he had to turn it down because his health wasn't good, but the other Dumbledore died anyway, so we could have gotten at least a couple of good Dumbledore movies. But man, that would have been
Patrick McGowan screaming at these kids.
Yeah, it's like this wise Dumbledore, is just reduced to a man screaming, like, and screaming in moments that he shouldn't. Harry Potter.
Before the door, after the door, which door?
Oh, that would be great. If I had a genie's lamp, the things that I would do, like just with popular culture stuff. I was like, all right, now I want to see a Patrick McGowan Dumbledore in these movies. All right. I did that. Now I want to see a Shaquille O'Neal Dumbledore in these movies.
I want to see a David Lynch Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Where he, imagine Jabba the Hutt would look more like the Eraserhead baby.
Oh my god. Oh my, I can't imagine what David Lynch would have done with Jabba the Hutt.
It's like it's just a regular dude. The real
what can
beast.
I do?
The real beast is man. It's like, man, David Lynch, we don't want you to do this. There's backwards dreams where Yoda speaks normally and he's the only one. Man, that would be great.
Check the suit.
Vader suit. Vader suit. Man, that'd be awesome. It's like we'd walk out of it being like, I don't know if I like that movie or not, but I can tell you, it's memorable.
Yeah.
It's certainly not the jet or the Emperor coming back again.
It's definitely not the remaster. Oh.
Oh my gosh, Jedi rocks.
Ugh.
Oh my goodness, that I remember. I think I told you a story. I remember when I got the I actually got the special edition trilogy for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 97, I think.
Yeah.
When it came out, and so 97, I was 12 years old, and I was super excited. And I watched the first one. I was like, man, I like the additions they did. I like the seeing Jabba the Hutt early on.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat little addition. Like, I heard that, like, there was little tweaks here and there, but this was just something brand new that they brought into the fray.
This is a new scene with it's a weird looking Jabba, but it's Jabba. Like, this is Han Solo. I didn't even understand the whole Han shot first thing. I just saw it and was like, oh, that's weird. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Being in there. But I remember, like when they blow up the planet, there's the little rings and everything. And I'm like, man, like, I was happy to see that. And then I watched Empire, which when I was a kid wasn't my favorite at all. I didn't like Empire. I thought it was boring until till Luke gets to Cloud City and fights Darth Vader. But of course, as I've gotten older, I've completely reevaluated that. Empire's my favorite now. But there wasn't a lot of changes except for the Wampa. I think the big snow.
Yeti. I forget the name of the thing.
And so I was like, oh, so I remember being on the bus and going home and being like, oh, I can't wait to see what Return of the Jedi brings. I know that there's something new. I know there's like a new alien creature thing in it. And man, oh man, like I liked it when I was 12 because I was 12. I was stupid, but like. I think that was just a lie I told myself that I like this. This is fine.
Everyone has that childhood movie that they refuse to let go.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I got a few of them.
Yeah.
I remember, even though I do like this movie still, and 100% I'm not lying to myself at all. When I was a kid, my favorite movie was Monster Squad, and I hadn't seen that movie in like years. Like last time I saw it I was like 8 years old, and then I bought it on DVD when it came out in like 2005 or 6 or something. And I was like, oh okay, it's been like almost over 10 years since I've seen this movie. I remember rewatching and being like, wow, this is not the epic I remember. Don't get me wrong, I still really like that movie. It's full of such great moments and everything, but I was kind of taken aback about how I'm not gonna say serious, but how slow it was in the beginning. How it built to kind of the climax. All I remember was the Frankenstein monster and the Wolfman's got nards. Like these are the only things I remembered. I forgot the beginning with the cool kid trying to get into the club and the candy bar and unfortunately the old German guy or scary German guy, because I didn't even remember him at all until I rewatched it, and I was like, okay, wow, this is interesting. But of course, that I think is the best example of a movie that I liked as a kid and rewatched, and I was like, man, this is not at all what I expected. I still like it, but not what I remember it being.
Oh, I'm trying to think of. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch the Goonies a lot, but I never had the entire Goonies. The movie started when they broke the dick on the statue, and when I bought it on DVD, I got to see like the first 15 minutes for the first time. I didn't know they were gonna get kicked out of their homes. I thought they were gonna go on an adventure.
It's like you got to see the dick intact. You're like, oh, that's what the dick looked like.
Oh, that's a weird way to start a movie. Now that I think about it,
it wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Man, I'm trying. Like when I was a kid, Monster Squad was huge. I used to love Back to the Future. That was like one of my favorite movies because I got that. That was a Christmas present. Because back in many years ago, for some reason, McDonald's would just sell movies around Christmas
Yeah, that's
time.
right. I forgot about that.
And I think I got 3 movies overall from there, like on 3 different Christmases. And I really wanted Back to the Future. My mom was like, "Oh, that's a hard one to get. Everybody wants Back to the Future." But I got it. And I remember telling my dad that if there's a tornado that comes through here, because I used to be afraid of tornadoes, like I used to always think that tornado was going to happen. But my dad always told me, "Oh, if there's a tornado, go where bricks are. Bricks will stop a tornado." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, if there's ever a tornado, I just want to be bricked off with, a TV and Back to the Future. I can ride it out. Now I think about it, I was just asking my dad to wall me up.
like a Poe story.
"Oh, go in there, son. Back to the Future's in there." Oh, is there a tornado coming? "Yes, there's a tornado coming, son." Let's see. We got the Brave Little Toaster.
Was that part of it?
That was one of the McDonald's movies they shared that they sold. That wasn't part of Back to the Future and the Brave Little Toaster. That'd be a hell of a crossover.
Yeah.
Where imagine the song that they're singing when they drop the DeLorean and crush it into a cube. And the third movie that I got from McDonald's was Charlotte's Web. It was an animated Charlotte's Web, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you like 3 things from this movie, but I do remember that Templeton the Rat was played by Paul motherfucking Lynde.
Yep.
And he was great. He is as great as Paul Lynde could be. Like, you don't hire a Paul Lynde and not get a good Paul Lynde performance.
He gave it his all.
He always did. He was, and I remember hearing it being like, "Hey, I know that guy. That's the guy from Bewitched," because my mom liked Bewitched. She used to watch it all the time. So I knew it was the guy from Bewitched. But I guess if I ever go back and rewatch it, I'd probably still love the Paul Lynde performance. But I don't know if I could not just hear Paul Lynde coming out of the voice of the rat.
Going back to childhood movies, and you watch again, and kind of being underwhelmed. I remember growing up with the Care Bears movie.
Okay.
And I remember that movie being epic. Like, it felt like the forces of evil and good were coming together in a massive battle. And I cannot express how underwhelmed that movie has become. It has not aged well in the past 34 years.
I've never seen that movie. Oh, did we watch that?
Yeah, we watched that movie. And it was the most saccharine,
I remember now,
sugar-coated movie. It gave us diabetes.
Like there was, let's see, I never watched that movie, but I think there was Stormy Bear, right? Was that a bear?
I think it was Grumpy Bear.
Grumpy Bear.
He's a mean old bear.
There was I don't know, Hat Bear. I don't know the bears. There's Enema Bear. There was George Washington Bear. Cutting Bear. There
sounds like never mind.
There was Running Bear. Yeah, I think those were all the. Oh, I almost said Berenstain Bears. And here are more bears. There was Big Paul Bear. There was Raffish Ralph. There's Papa Bear. Grumpy Bear.
And
what else? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What? I guess it was a good marketing idea. Everyone can. It's kind of like Pokemon before Pokemon. Like, get all the different bears. Like, collect your favorite bears.
I guess I think initially the Care Bears were like a Hallmark card thing, and I think they made it into like a television show to compete with like My Little Pony and whatever other sugar-coated thing there was. And I don't think it was as successful, but I think the climax was that just no one is that happy. No one is that happy and is not hiding something.
There was, I think, like 4 different Care Bear movies.
Was there really?
There was Care Bears. There was like Care Bears 2. I think there was a Care Bears Alice in Wonderland. I think there was a Care Bears Nutcracker.
Holy
I think there was
crap!
A Care Bears in Space. Oh, maybe not that one.
Where they fight Jason.
Yeah. Man, that would actually be a really neat idea. Getting someone super saccharine like the Care Bears versus like a villain like Chucky or Jason or something like really bloody. Like, can their can their good and sweetness overpower the evil?
That would be interesting. It wouldn't be. It's not without precedent because they did something similar with what the what the hell was the name of that 70s kids show?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
The Banana Splits.
Yeah.
And they kind of, the banana.
We saw that movie too, right?
Yeah, we did. I'm just trying to think of, most people don't know who the banana. Like we should know who the Banana Splits are.
Yeah, I know.
It's like this old 70s kids show with these creepy looking mascot people. Like one was an ape and another was a dog. I think another was a lion, and they were just creepy, and they were big in the, did I say the 70s?
Yeah.
And they recently made a comeback as a horror movie, which I thought was a neat idea. Take these kind of long forgotten icons and kind of resurrect them to in a different genre to kind of breathe new life into them.
Yeah, I remember the movie was pretty damn good. I remember, or at least I remember enjoying the movie a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we did a Care Bears with Jason, like, I think it'd be great to see, like, total Care Bear, like, mutilation. Like, a machete goes through Apple Bear, like, right through his chest.
And
there's just fluff coming out. Oh my gosh! Like, think of all the creative murders that you could do with a Care Bear versus Jason movie.
Jason is good, but I think Freddy would be better.
I can get behind that.
Freddy is also very creative with his kills, but then you can kind of have that Care Bear stare at the end, where they shoot the lasers from their chest, and then all the souls fly out of Freddy.
No! Yeah, that'd be perfect. And here's my stipulation. Mm-hmm. I want it to be animated.
I'm fine with that.
A hard R animation.
Of course, that's very hard to come by these days.
Because then you could get the voice of Robert Englund, and he wouldn't have to go through the makeup or anything.
Yeah, they won't have to paint his face orange.
Yeah, so they don't have to like just stick like whatever they can, like pizza on his face, and just be like, call it a day, like they did in part 6. Like, they can actually just have him do the voice, and it'd be less strain for him, and he can still play Freddy again. Man, that would be great.
I would love the shit out of that.
It all starts when the new when a new Care Bear comes in, Nightmare Bear, and he's a good bear. He's a good bear, but
he's a bit disturbed,
and he starts spreading nightmares to them, and they don't know how to stop it. And it turns out that the nightmares that he's spreading are Jason, or Freddy, because Nightmare Bear just came from Elm Street and he carried Freddy with him to the Cloud Cuckoo Land, or wherever it was that they lived.
Oh man, I think it was just Care Bear Land.
The Care Bear Land with the cloud cars and everything.
Yep. Come on, Grumpy Bear, wake up! He's not waking up, Star Bear! And
then his stomach just explodes.
Yeah.
Grumpy Bear, no! Come here. I don't know, Vacuum Bear. I'm just looking at things in the room now. Get over here, warm plate of pancakes, Bear. Man, that would be like.
I think
we should write this.
I think we.
Who do we sell this to?
I think that's a hard one, because you have to think we would have to market that to the Hallmark Company. Do you mind if we take your mascots of happiness and maul them by a horror icon?
We just gotta find the CEO on a good day.
We need this casting director that got the X-Men together.
It's like, okay, so here's the thing. I'm not going to sell my rights to the Care Bears. Okay. But we get Robert Englund to do the voice of Freddy. Okay, I'm listening. And for Nightmare Bear, we'll get
Johnny Depp.
I like. And 4 of the other bears are Mark Hamill. Okay, where do I sign? Yeah, it'd be Johnny Depp's big comeback. Like, there are careers on the line here. Like, let's get this together.
This is what America needs to heal right now.
Like, we will have it could start a whole bunch of crossovers of other cartoons. You can get, I don't know, Jason versus the Argonauts,
Cookie Monster,
or the Muppets. HBO owns them now. So they can do some more.
Well, Disney owns the Muppets, I thought.
Oh, yeah, right, they do. HBO owns Sesame Street. Or at least Sesame Street is on HBO now.
That's weird.
Yeah, so you can get some more edgy stuff.
Yeah.
I remember I saw a clip from the Sesame Street when, shortly after they moved to HBO.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they were definitely using their new parent company, I guess effectively, because they had a parody called Game of Chairs. And it was basically just exactly what you think it was. I forget who was sitting on the Iron Throne. If I was doing it, it would have been a cookie throne. It's a skit that really writes itself, but
got weird with all the incest, though.
I mean, you're telling me that the Yip Yip monster's not inbred, though?
Okay.
So yeah, that would definitely be Muppets versus Jason. That one doesn't have to be animated.
Nope.
Because it doesn't matter who you put behind the...
Felt's felt.
Yeah, everything. Doesn't matter who you put behind a Jason mask. You can get Kane Hodder back. He was he played in, I think, 4 of the movies, and he was regarded as the best Jason. So yeah, get him back. I mean, they're not doing anything with the Jason thing anyway.
No.
Yeah, I think that, Michael Myers versus Michael Myers. The actor. He's just doing different voices as this guy's chasing him.
You have, let's see. Oh, we're running out. You have the Leprechaun versus Rainbow Bright.
And Berenstain Bears versus Grizzly Rage. I think we could make it happen.
Is there another bear-related horror movie? Franchise other than Grizzly Rage?
Other than the Grizzly Rage franchise?
And Revenant?
That's a good point. You don't see... I guess bears don't make effective serial killers.
No.
Despite what park rangers want us to think.
They're just dumb animals that want your picnic baskets.
Yogi Bear versus the Berenstain Bears versus the Grizzly Rage Bears. I don't know, boo-boo, because you gotta up the count. You can't just have mama, papa, sister, brother, just being the only victims. Though, I think the first, I think how they kind of show the first victim, you just see them pulling a white sheet over the victim, and you see the yellow hat next to a Papa Bear's yellow hat. They don't outright say who is the first victim, but who the first victim is.
It's a cold open like in Kill Bill.
Yeah. And the plot twist is he faked his death. Papa Bear is the Grizzly Rage.
All for arm honey.
Trying to get his arm honey. I think that he just... What? Why would Papa Bear snap and start murdering everybody? It's like what was that movie, Falling Down? He's just having a bad day, and they don't have any at the McBear-Donald's. They're not serving breakfast anymore. And he's just, that's it.
But it's 10:59. I want a... Oh, is that me?
I think so. Sure, we don't have that right now. We're doing lunch. Yeah.
And he gets his bear semi-automatic rifle.
Which is... Papa Bear's an axe user.
His
semi-automatic axe.
Or a gun that shoots bees.
Did you get this from Dr. Evil or something?
Well, it's just, they have a theme, bees and honey, and it's bear themed.
He's got his own queue working on gadgets for him. James Bear. Yeah, that'd be... See, I don't want it to be a cartoon bear if they're doing a James Bear. I want it to be just an actual bear in a nice suit, button up and everything. He's got the suave, he's got his fur slicked back.
Trying to get marshmallows.
Doctor, no.
And you don't even need a man with metal teeth for Jaws.
He can just be
A bear.
Like, I think everyone's a human except for the villain and the good guy. And the villain doesn't always have to be a bear. Like GoldenEye, I imagine. Well, I know GoldenEye wasn't the actual name of the villain, but GoldenEye would just be the guy from Spider-Man, the Green Goblin, because he's got horrible yellow eyes.
Willem Dafoe?
Yeah. He's just dressed as a Green Goblin. Like, look at my eyes, they're golden, see? It's like, it really wasn't what the movie was about. Like,
We'll meet again!
James 007! 00 Marshmallow.
Oh, man.
Like, if we start putting bears in movies, there is no limit to what we can accomplish.
Like, I think we should go like full deep fakes and just, put bears, in random spots.
It would be the only time that people on, using a deep fakes would, it wouldn't be frowned upon. If we use it for bear technology and inserting bears into movies, yeah, I think it would be kind of good. First thing I would do is I'd go back to Return of the Jedi and replace all the Ewoks with bears. And you know what? I'd replace the Go Near Day. I'd replace that song, but it'd be the same song. It'd just be bears singing it.
I would replace the walkie-talkies in E.T. with bears.
Little tiny bears.
Tiny bears.
Yeah, okay, I can get behind that. Full Metal Jacket. Just one bear.
Just one bear amongst the crowd.
Yeah, no. Arlie Erme would be a bear.
You don't want Vincent D'Onofrio to be the...
No, that's too obvious. Arlie Erme is a bear. Like, he was intimidating to begin with, but now he's a bear. He's even more intimidating.
I guess you would get in line if your drill sergeant was a bear.
Yeah, like there would be no like second guessing anything he said. If he told you to jump, you jumped.
Like the Joker would not have made it past the first scene.
Yeah. Is that you, Teddy Ruxpin? Is this me? And he just
mauls him.
Yeah, when he smacks him, he just slashes his face open. Warface. What?
And he just buries him.
They're all marching, and you just see him in the background just burying the body. Let's see. What other movies could there be that we can see? I would replace the bears in Anchorman. I'd take them out. I'd digitally remove them. There'd be no bears in Anchorman at the end. I'd put I don't know, stick figures.
I would say replace the aliens in Aliens with bears.
And actually, now that I'm going down this rabbit hole, it might not just be regular bears. I know I came up with that idea, but Fozzie Bear might be in one of those bear things too. There might be a Fozzie somewhere.
He's the one that fights Leo DiCaprio.
He's wearing Fozzie.
Is Fozzie's head on his head?
Yeah, and he's got his eye. He's got like still that like joking smile of a mouth. He still has a little bow tie and a hat on.
If we had written this movie, Leo would not have won that award.
They would have never given him an Oscar if we had done that.
So he's wearing Fozzie. Fozzie attacks him, and then the ghost of Fozzie just annoys him as he's hunting these people.
Yeah. I think that we got the movie. I think we've nailed it. What else do you got? Well, hold on a second. The voice of Fozzie will be Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Oh, gosh, make this movie, please. That's my Patrick Stewart as Fozzie Bear. I don't think I can do. Waka Waka.
It's like that Family Guy with the wrong voice Muppets.
Put a bear in the Three Stooges somewhere. Be like Curly.
We saw that bit.
Oh yeah, we did actually. Wow. we were ahead of our time. Or the Three Stooges maybe was ahead of the time. They knew that we were going to start putting bears in everywhere.
They knew bears were dumb.
We don't need Joe D'Amato anymore. Or Joe Besser. We can just put a bear. Actually.
Oh, was that a Besser episode?
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, wait. I like Joe Besser. Not so hard. He is the only fourth stooge I really like of, of Shemp.
I liked Shemp.
He's okay. I don't think I've ever seen a Curly Joe Dorito one. Like I said, I think they were in the movies.
Curly Joe just came off as slow. And he looks like Homer Simpson when he ate the super sour candy.
All right, so now I have to see a Curly... I have to see... I'm going to have to go to YouTube or something, find a clip of Curly Joe. I remember, like I said, I think I remember when I was a kid seeing the... I was up at like 2 in the morning for some reason. I don't know. Nothing, there was no stability in my life. And I remember seeing like the Three Stooges go to Mars or something. And I was like... Oh, I want to watch that, and I don't think I made it very far into that movie.
Was it one of their movies?
I think it was one of their movies.
Yeah, their movies weren't that great, though. It did have it was Curly Joe.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I'm gonna have to see. Then I have to go back and watch the movies of the Three Stooges, and not the 2000s movie.
Yeah, I think the one. Three Stooges movie I saw was, I think, the Three Stooges. It was either the Three Stooges meet Hercules or the Three Stooges and the Time Machine. And the premise being that the Three Stooges have this one nerdy scientist friend.
Of course.
And the scientist friend builds this time machine, and they go back in time, and the time machine breaks down, I think, the Greek age, ancient Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what happens. Things occur, and the Three Stooges and their nerdy friend get in one of those boats that's controlled by, banging the drums, and everyone rows, and then all of a sudden their nerdy friend becomes really strong from rowing the boat, and he kind of just, beats everyone up to get back to the time machine.
I guess they fixed it with ancient Greece parts.
I guess.
Like, the whole concept of the Three Stooges going back in time just sounds like a dangerous premise. Like, these guys can't even do plumbing right. What are they going to do to the space-time continuum?
Like, the universe implodes.
Like, as soon as they disappear back in time, then you get... like, someone looks down, they got egg beaters on their hands instead of hands. Like, oh, no.
See.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's the universe where Hitler won.
It's, like, they, like, why, if you go back in time, they have all these things that you can do. Like, why go to ancient Greece?
I don't know.
I guess because it's probably the cheapest way to...
Yeah, it's cheap.
There's like... Oh, what was that?
That was my phone.
Time to wake up.
Yes.
Ancient Greece or, like... I don't know, I would like to see the Three Stooges. Like, if you have the Three Stooges going back in time, there's, like, lots of things that they could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, maybe they have to experience the stock market crash again.
And they meet themselves.
Yeah. And they kind of give themselves some pointers. Or
like
they
tell Curly to lay off the salt.
Or they go into the future and they see they work at a fast food restaurant. They work at a McDonald's. Because there would be about 1 million things you could do, the Three Stooges, in like a McDonald's. Like a fry machine or something like that. Like, oh, no, I don't know. And he just dunks his head in the fry machine. Oh. He's just a little bit of steam coming off him after that.
He has some fries stuck to his face.
So, Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 3, not as bad as I thought it was. There are certain elements that held up, certain elements that didn't age very well. But overall, tolerable.
Yeah, I think that it was, again, I had my own little opinions of it back when I was, when it first came out. I went through like a love-hate thing with it. But, going back and reevaluating it, it's really not that bad. It's entertaining enough, it flows smoothly enough, and there are some fun moments in it. So fun, yeah, that's how I think I'd describe it. All right. So,
Good night.
see you later. That'll hold a little SOBs.